Hello everyone, in this class we'll be exploring the grammar conditionals. You may have heard them, you may have studied them at school or at an institute. Um, so the first thing that we should consider here is that we have different types of conditionals. And conditionals are prototypical sentences in which we have, and they are complex sentences in which we have one clause that is dependent on a main clause. The two types of conditionals that we have are real or open and hypothetical or unreal, which are said to be closed. Open ones, open conditions, they are open to be fulfilled, okay? They can still uh, become real, they can still happen. Whereas closed ones, they can no longer or they could hardly be fulfilled. So that means that they are more hypothetical in nature. Now, within the real ones, we have two conditionals, which are the zero and the first. In the hypothetical case, we have the second and the third conditional. You will see as soon as we reach the discussion here of the second conditional that we have a special type of verb here. All right. Now, let's talk about the zero conditional. Zero conditional is used for general truths, so things that happen, things that are. If I drink coffee at night, I find it hard to sleep. And to express a general truth, we are going to begin our conditional with F. Okay, so F is one of the many choices that we have. It's the most usual, let's say. We have F, we have a present simple tense plus a comma, all right? So here we can say it. F, present simple, drank, okay, and the comma. And then we have in the second part, we have the present simple, okay? Find it, I find it. It's difficult to see the present tense here because we don't have the inflection, but if we change this for the third person singular, if she drinks coffee at night, she finds it hard to sleep, we can see that is the present simple. Of course, we will have the comma. We will have the comma when we start our complex sentence with the dependent clause. If I drink coffee at night, this is dependent, so that's why we have a comma. If it was the other way, of course, we will have the main clause. I find it hard to sleep. No comma. If I drink coffee at night. Period. Okay. So my punctuation of conditional sentences, which are complex sentences. Now, then we have the first conditional, which is used for causing consequences, and we have the present and the future in its structure, as you will see. If he doesn't study, he won't pass his exams. Now we have the if, we have the present simple tense, he doesn't, all right, and we have a comma. Then here we can have the modal will or the modal can to express the future tense. Um, we can also have, in this case, the imperative, okay? If you want to go, come home early, okay? So we could have the imperative here, and the imperative in a way refers to the future time, okay? Now, here we have an example of the imperative, sorry. If you want him to come, call him, all right? So the structure remains the same. We just have an imperative here in the second part in the main clause. Still, the main clause is in the second place in the examples that we have seen, and the dependent one is in the first place. Then we have second conditional for unreal situations. If I had time, I would help you. What I want to say here is that I don't have the time. That's why I cannot help you. Okay? But if I had it, I would. What we have here, it's called the subjunctive. The subjunctive looks pretty much like the past tense, okay? The past tense in the indicative form, but it's not so. It's not so because the meaning does not refer to a past that happened, but to a hypothetical situation in the future or in the present time reference. Okay, Let me see if we can find the example here. Here we can see clearly that it's a subjunctive. If I were you, I am not you, I would, but I cannot because I'm not you. So what calls the attention probably is that we have where for I, yes, and we would have where if it was he or she or it, yes, if she were you. Now, we use where instead of was, okay, because it's the subjunctive, it's not the past, and because if you used was, that would be too formal, okay. So we rather keep it in the most common choice, in the most usual one. If I were, is that okay? This is the example. This is the structure. Okay. So if plus past simple, subjunctive, in fact, plus a comma. Yeah. And then the modal will be would or could. Okay. Now, don't forget, it's a subjunctive. It just looks as the past simple of the indicative, but it's a subjunctive in the past. Okay. Now, the third conditional is used for unreal situations, but in the past, whereas the second one in the present and the future. Now, if you had studied more, you didn't, you will have passed your exams. You didn't. Okay? So if plus past perfect tense plus a comma, and then we have a perfect conditional would have perfect conditionals. So sorry, a model. A perfect model, sorry, that's what I meant. Perfect models are used to refer to past situations, and they are formed with the modal plus have, and then, of course, the participle, which is the ed participle or past participle. Now, we have other options for the subordinator if we don't want to use if, we could replace it with, for example, unless, as the example here says. Given that he's this is another subordinator, okay, given that you do what must be done, you'll find freedom, as long as is another choice, supposing that, whether, all right. So try to vary if because it's not the only option we have. And then just a note on inversion. When there is no subordinator, when there is no subordinator, if unless, as long as, for example, you can invert the subject and the first element of the verb phrase. So, had he won the 2008 election? He didn't. Now, if we had the subordinator, we would say if he had won, okay? But we don't have subordinator, that's why we front the first element of the verb phrase. Were I to be chosen, if I were to be chosen. Should rain if it rains, okay? So we have the option to apply inversion in these cases, which might prove useful whenever you are delivering a presentation or writing something that is more narrative. It sounds really good. Try to use it. Be judicious.